Oh my goodness. The Malanga Commission is already Malangering today. And today the name drop is Serge Kabonge, who is a Congolese national popularly known as da-da-da-da, the, the International Blesser. So let me just give you a quick background story on who he is and what his story is about. I already did a full video when he initially did his media tour. And I know you already know, I always say you can never, 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 never misquote silence. And now finally we find out why Serge Kabonge came out guns blazing, did a media tour, introduced himself, and put himself in the center piece. He is, well, was Tebucho Tobejane's friend who was out with Tebucho Tobejane that night, okay? The fateful night and the night when they were out in Santon, they were out together, and then after a few drinks, he ended up going back home. And then Tebucho was left with her friends. And then they decided to go back home because they ran out of money. And while they were driving home, that's when the pew pew happened. And her friend, who Tebucho calls Japan, got injured and is currently paralyzed and is in a wheelchair right now. Then Debucho calls Serge to let him know, listen, this is what has just happened. He ran to the crime scene. He was beside her bed at the hospital. He did a live, which he alleges now that Debucho forced him to go live. And. So, his significance, according to Debucho Tovejane, is he was the watcher that night who kept Kat Matlala informed of her whereabouts. That is Debucho Tobejani's suspicions about Serge the Blesser. They are, of course, no longer friends anymore. Or should I say, no longer on talking terms. From hospital bed, side of your hospital bed, BFF, to don't talk to me. So that is who Serge Kabonge is. But guess what we find out inside Pagati within the Malanga Commission? His actual relationship to Shadrack Sibiya. Oh my goodness. When they say, beat the dog, beat the dog, beat the dog, and the owner comes out, what you're about to hear is mind boggling. Then I'm led to think of Shadrack Sibiya himself, who went to court to force Masamola to let him come back to work. He was also visibly very upset with Umkwanazi. He didn't understand because he's a disciplined member of SAPS. Now, after this revelation, I can understand why the PKTT is not a favorite unit inside Pagati within the Shadrack Sibiya circles. Let me play the clip. I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
And for that, commissioners, Mr. Matlala indicated that he understood that when General Sibiya asked him to take care of him, he meant that he should take care of him financially or to support him financially. So from there going forward, Mr. Matlala would give payments to Lieutenant General Sibiya, payments for around 500,000 at a time.
Did you, at the time or later, ask for proof of this? If not you, did anyone else at a later stage ask for proof of this? The payments to General Sibiya of amounts of around 500,000 rand at a time.
Thank you, commissioners. We asked him as to how does he make payments to General Sibiya, and he informed us that General Sibiya doesn't accept electronic transfers, but he prefers cash. So therefore, there wouldn't be a proof of payment to him.
Witnessy, can I take you back to paragraph 106, where your statement reads, please take care of me and I will take care of you. You've explained that Mr. Matlala relayed to you that he understood his role there to be one of financial support. But was there a point where Mr. Matlala explained to you what then was the role of General Sibiya in relation to him and in exchange for that financial support?
Thank you, commissioners. The favors or the taking care of Mr. Matlala by General Sibiya, as he had indicated, Mr. Matlala indicated that General Sibiya and General Sinona assisted him in getting in securing there is a point where he also indicated that he had a problem with utilizing the sick bay or the clinic at the police college that he was supposed to have been using. And General Sibiya was the one whom he went to the office to have that matter sorted out.
I'm sorry, using the what at the college?
There's a clinic there at the police college. We normally call it sick bay. It's a medical facility at the Pretoria West Academic College, SAPS Academic College.
Witness C, your paragraph 106 suggests that the alleged payments to General Sibiya happened after Mr. Msibi had passed on. And I say so because it reads, he described after the old man, Mr. Msibi, also known as Mswazi, died, General Sibiya came to him and said, Mswazi is no longer here, please take care of me and I will take care of you. He understood this as a reference to financial support, so he would give him payments of 500,000 rand at a time. This reads to convey that the payments started only after Mr. Sibiya died. Is that Mr. Msibi? Oh dear God, did I just kill General Sibiya? Is that your understanding of that relationship, that the alleged payments to General Sibiya began only after Mr. Msibi passed away?
Thank you, commissioners. When he started talking about General Sibiya, he kept on saying that General Sibiya is a criminal himself.
The Minister of Police invited and facilitated the peace talk between myself, the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, and the Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sibiya, in his office, in his house, State House, official residence in Pretoria. The purpose of the invitation was to try and create peace between myself and the Deputy National Commissioner. It was unprecedented. I've never seen in my life. The National Commissioner was present, but he just kept quiet because it was not his meeting. The Minister of Police felt that he must make me and General Sibiya to find peace. Surely, there can never be peace between a criminal and a police officer.
And I believe that when he says that the old man is no longer here, please take care of me, I will also assume that the taking care of him by Mr. Matlala would be that maybe it might be a continuation, or he will be starting to take care of him as the old man had passed. So I will not specifically be sure, as he didn't clarify that point, as to whether he only started taking care of him after the passing of Mr. Msibi, or he had been taking care of him prior to the passing of Mr. Msibi, and the general wanted him to continue to do as he had been doing before. My assumption comes only after he had indicated to me that General Sibiya is a criminal himself, and he kept repeating those words.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Witness C, in continuing your informal talk with Mr. Matlala, what, if anything, was his outlook or overview of his relationship with General Sibiya? Was it positive or negative at that moment in time?
At that time, he indicated that his relationship with General Sibiya was only based on money, that General Sibiya will only be on the receiving end.
Chairperson, I noticed that we've just gone over 11 before I'm accused of depriving you of tea.
Let's continue until 11:15 and adjourn at that point.
Thank you. Thank you. Witness C, you were then detailing the nature of Mr. Matlala's relationship with General Sibiya, and please then proceed to paragraph 108 and explain to the Commission the methods he would utilize in order to deliver money to General Sibiya.
Thank you, commissioners. With his own mouth, Mr. Matlala indicated that he would go to General Sibiya's house, and here he didn't specify which house, and whereby he will do the drop-off for the money, and that there's another house, a townhouse at a gated community in Center, where also he would go there, and he would, as directed by the general, he will drop off the money. Further to this, he gave a bit of a more detail to say that when you access this gated community or this estate, then there will be a circle. General Sibiya will come from one of the houses and stand by the circle. He doesn't allow any person into his house, and then he will hand over the package to him, and then thereafter he will drop off. And again, that he didn't know the name of the estate, but he knows that at the same estate, it is where there's a character known to him as Serge Kabonge, the fixer, who is also owning a house at that same complex. So yeah, that is how he would indicate as to how he do the drop-offs.
Witness C, just for clarity's sake, I missed it. Please identify the individual who he says resides in the complex.
It's a person named Serge Kabonge. It's a Congolese national. Some people, they call him the blesser, and some people, they call him the fixer.
Thank you, Witness C. And
please spell the name for the record.
It's SERGE, and then the surname is CABONGE.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I forgot to mention as well, Serge the Blesser, Serge the Fixer. Guess what? We remember the saying, beat the dog until the owner comes out? Yes, he's the blesser who used to, the Dubai blesser who used to take women to Dubai. And I'll let you imagine the rest, what they were doing. And no, it was not a religious trip. That's one. Two, right now he's currently hiding under the guise. He is a GBV activist. Yeah. Do you know what they say? Hiding in plain sight. Lives in the same estate as a whole deputy national commissioner. Something is beating the water, but let's continue listening on.
Witness C, in addition to money dropped off at a townhouse in Sandton, please explain to the Commission with reference to paragraph 109 how else funds were advanced by Mr. Matlala to General Sibiya.
Thank you. He indicated that after each and every payment by the SAPS for his tender, then a portion of the payment will be given to General Sibiya. And he indicated that sometimes he will pay to the total amount of 1 million a month.
Did Mr. Matlala ever relay to you why there was a link between him receiving payment in respect of a invoice and then him transferring or sending money to General Sibiya? Why were these two actions seemingly interlinked?
One will make a cross-reference back to say that General Sibiya and General Sinona helped him to secure the SAPS tender. So then the only conclusion that one will come to it is that maybe there was an agreement between them that whenever a payment is made by the SAPS, then a portion will come to me.
Let's see, does Mr. Matlala in these recordings say that General Sibiya and Sinona assisted him to get the tender? Is it something that is contained in these recordings?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioners. It is contained in the recording.
Thank you.
Just before we break, Witness C, you are getting these revelations about ministers, very senior generals in the police setup. They involve exchange of money and bribery. What did you do with this information? Did you prepare a statement for your superiors so that action could be taken against these people?
Thank you, Commissioners. As a junior official, when this involves the senior management of the SAPS, I sent a report to the senior managers of the SAPS so that I will be guided as to what steps should I take further. And when the July 6 happened, we were still investigating the authenticity or the aversions by Mr. Matlala.
Am I understanding you correctly that the report that you gave to your superiors directly or indirectly led to the media briefing on July 6th?
I am not specifically saying that it led to the July 6th. I am saying that by the time July 6th happened, the media briefing on July 6th happened, we were investigating the aversions by Mr. Matlala.
Yeah. You say in instances like these, you prepare a report for your superiors. Did you prepare one in respect of these revelations? Did you prepare a report in respect of these revelations? A report for your or to your superiors? Please answer
Yes.
the question. Please. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Commissioner, to interject you.
No, I just wanted to say, please give a direct answer because
yes.
Commissioner Kumalo asked a similar question, and I'm not sure what your answer was. So that's why I'm saying, please give a direct answer. I think you already have, which is a yes. Thank you very much, Witness C.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes.
Chairperson, it's 15:15.
It's 16 past.
It's like 31 first.
It's not me, it's Commissioner Baloyi. She says we must come back at 11:31. Let's adjourn and resume at 11:35.
You already know what I'm going to ask. I'm not even going to hold you. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section down below. Please go ahead and like the video so that more and more people understand there can never be peace between a criminal and a police officer. Wow, what an explosive revelation.